Actually, you should introduce you're the topic of the story.
Right. I'm the Shia of that story. So just a little background on Karl. I think we all know, but I think it may be appropriate just to recap some of the highlights of his life. Karl K. or Yakov Couple Kazimierski, he was born in Bendin on December 27th, 1924, or January 26th, 1925, depending upon what document you look at. And he always recalled his childhood, pre-teen years with tremendous affection and nostalgia and sentimentality. You can always tell that that was really the focus of his longing. When he was 6, his father died. When he was 14, he was abruptly taken from his family to spend the rest of his teenage years in the camps. And it was during those years that, of course, he experienced the trauma of the Holocaust, which saw the murder of his mother and his 4 siblings, 2 brothers and 2 sisters. In 1947, he came over to the U.S. He married, had 2 sons who he was always very proud of. And eventually, in 1977, he married Bubi, my grandmother. And from the start, from the first day of my life, he was my grandfather in every way. And though we called him Karl for the majority of his life, really that name just became synonymous with Zaidi or Grandpa for us. In our minds, that's actually what it meant as far as I'm concerned, and I think my family feels the same way. I recently asked my grandfather what his most memorable moment of his life was. What memory stands out the strongest in his mind, and he told me that it was when that episode, that moment when the Jewish police, the Kapos, came to his home in Bendin in 1939 and took him from his family with his mother in the kitchen screaming to let him stay, crying that he's only a child. And I think it makes sense that that's the focus for him, given that he was arrested in childhood, and I think that he was arrested in both senses of the word in childhood at that moment. And I think that explains, or perhaps contributes to why he identified so strongly with children, and how he had the greatest joy I have seen him have is when he was with children. I have a few memories of my childhood in general. I have few memories of my childhood, but some moments I had with Zaidi are very prominent in my mind. He would take me for ice cream, or as he called it, U-Scream, quite frequently when I was a kid. Pizza, the occasional restaurant, and he would always remind me, until the end actually, up until this year, almost every time I see him, he would say, "Remember, I used to take you for U-Scream, and you would give out the ice cream to all the other kids." The joy he got from those ice cream excursions was palpable, and again, the focus on the moments he had with me as a child and with my siblings as children was always very remarkable. To his last days, I think the happiest times he's had was when his children and his grandchildren, and particularly his great-grandchildren, came to visit. And Karl was not only loved children, but he was particularly sensitive to the vulnerability of children. And as Sarah was saying, he always made sure to prop up the egos of the kids, us for sure, and I assume all the other kids he came in contact with. he would consistently tell me as a kid, Shaya, you're the best. Shaya, no matter what anybody says about you, you're okay with me. Shaya, we're number 4, referring to the fact that we were the 4th born. Like my sister, I have only loving memories of him. He only showered us with love and support and ego boosting. He was never ever annoyed in any way by anything we would do. He never got irritated, he never got angry, he never would yell at us. If anything, he would be yelling at other adults around him to stop bothering the kids, let the kids do whatever they want. I think that having experienced the devastation that he did as a child likely made him more sensitive to children, and gave him a sense of need to protect children in every way, in being how unprotected he was as a child. And it's remarkable that despite all of the tragedies that he experienced in his life, he was a unconditionally loving grandfather. He was a constant and reliable source of love and support. And I want to mention, I spoke to my brother Tzvi this morning, and he asked if I can say something on his behalf to everybody. So Tzvi was mentioning how he feels that my brother's in Colorado, and he feels that he senses Karl's soul more strongly now than he did when he was alive. And he says he feels that he can sense and feel Karl's soul in its pristine state of which he described as a sweet, playful, childlike, joyful state. I would just, like to. I personally take comfort, as sad as this is, to no longer have him in my life, as I loved him very much. I take comfort in the belief that he is finally reunited with his mother, father, and 4 siblings that I felt throughout his life he very much and profoundly longed for and grieved over. And